Have you ever wanted to take all of the mixing work that you've done to your tracks and print it to tape? In this video, I'll show you step by step how to print tracks in Logic Pro, from condensing BGs, creating stems, and printing effects. This way you'll be able to simplify your track count without sacrificing on detail or quality. This video is brought to you by DistroKid. When you've got your music ready to release, DistroKid offers lightning fast distribution to streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and many more. You can sign up today with the link in the description to get a discount off your first year's subscription. First, you want to decide which tracks will be printed together in a group. Here I've got a left hand and right hand keyboard part that I've played separately and I'd like to combine into a stereo track. So set the output of the desired tracks to a bus. I'll be using bus 1. Logic will create a new aux track for you with bus 1 as the input. And sometimes this can be helpful, but it's not what we want right now. So set the aux track's input to no input and press delete with the track selected to remove it. Then press Option Command A to create a new audio track and set the input of this new audio track to the same bus that you had before. Again, I'm using bus 1. Now you'll want to decide if you want to print a stereo or mono recording. Mono is great if you're printing individual tracks and they don't have any stereo effects, but stereo is needed when you have any sort of panning adjustments or stereo effects in your tracks. This will ensure that all panning information is written onto a stereo track. Then you're going to record enable the new audio track, go to the beginning and press R to record the playback of these tracks onto the new audio track. So now we have the audio and the processing of both of these keyboard tracks printed onto this stereo audio track. And you're not limited to just 2 tracks. As I mentioned earlier, this is a great way to sum layers of background vocals and effects. If you've got dozens of layers that you've balanced, just print them to a stereo track so that you have less tracks to clutter your session. You can mute the individual tracks by selecting them and pressing M, and then hide them with Control H. Now you can have a stereo print of your multiple ambient effects. And if you ever feel like you need to tweak the individual tracks, you can unmute them, make your edits, and then repeat the printing process. Another method you could use is the bounce in place method. Simply select the audio regions that you would like to include in the bounce and press Control B to bounce the regions in place. This will combine these regions into a single audio track while keeping their exact location in the timeline. So pressing Control B is going to pull up the bounce in place menu where you can choose how you want to bounce your track, whether you want to leave the source tracks alone or mute them or delete them. If you want a dry version of your tracks, you can select the bypass effect plugins box. Otherwise, leave this unchecked to include all of your processing. If you want a stereo track that includes your panning information like I have here, you'll want to make sure to check Include Volume and Pan Automation. Likewise, if you're using any reverb or delays, you'll want to check Include Audio Tail so all ambient information is captured in the bounced region. Then click OK, and your new audio track will be created with the combined audio regions printed together as a stereo audio track. So just like the print method, we have the left hand on the left and the right hand part on the right. So are these the same or different? When should you use bounce in place versus the printing method? Well, bounce in place is an automatic process, so the bounce happens offline, so it's quite fast, and it's great if you want to combine a bunch of tracks in a hurry. The print method is old school. It's much slower because it happens in real time, but it allows you to listen back while the print is happening and even adjust parts of your mix in real time. Otherwise, you can just do this with automation. Just remember to include automation in the bounce in place method. Okay, so those are a couple methods that you can use to print a track in Logic Pro. Next, let's talk about a few reasons why you might want to print your tracks. Number one is it's going to reduce your track count. You can condense similar tracks like background vocals from multiple layers into one stereo track so that it's much easier to look at and balance as a whole. The second reason is it allows you to commit to a balance. Printing locks in fader levels, panning, and effects so that you can focus on the bigger mix picture without getting pulled back into endless tweaks. If it sounds good, print it to tape and move on to bigger and better things. The third reason to print your tracks is to create stems from your instrumental groups. You can print submixes like drums, guitars, or synths as individual stems. This can free up your CPU by consolidating virtual instruments and effect-heavy tracks into single audio files. This is going to make your session run much smoother. This keeps projects organized, and it's a great trick if you've been doing some processing on your tracks, but you still need to do some more recording. For example, maybe you've recorded a scratch vocal for your band to play to. Well, that vocal may not have the energy and impact of a fully produced lead vocal track, which could affect how the other musicians play alongside that vocal guide. So one thing we can do is to pretty it up a bit, treat it like a nice shiny lead vocal. We're going to add some EQ, compression, effects, tune it if necessary. And now it's going to sound pretty good, right? But we also have all this processing going on that the computer has to do. And if we're going to be recording a band to this beautiful scratch vocal with all of its processing, the computer might get interrupted during recording, and this can really mess everything up. You're going to have to increase your buffer size, which can also add latency, which is going to mess up your performers. So instead of all that, we are going to print all of this beautiful processing to a new track. So our vocal goes from something that looks like this to this, something much more polished and dynamically consistent, like you might hear on a finished track. This is going to give the performers an idea of the energy and emotion of each section without having any active plugins to take up the computer's processing power. So I hope this video helped you out. Leave a like if it did, and consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
When all we do is talk, 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 it's not my fault. I can't get